Okay, we're only doing half the countdown this morning because Cameron's losing his shit. He's falling apart because he can't stand it. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I am glad, so glad, that my boy Cameron managed to get a couple of laughs for you guys while our special guest and I were sorting out some technical issues real quick, because today's episode, I hope to get some jokes in. And I mean, there's jokes to be had, but the topic is a heavy one. So I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, you saw the thumbnail, you heard you saw the title. I'm going to go ahead and run this news article from the Fox affiliate out of Jamul-Dulzura Union School District. So here's...
Migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Jamul-Dulzura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Jamul Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next. A group of migrants tried.
So that's terrifying, and I would like to say surprising. But let me bring in our special guest this morning, Mario. Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning, everyone.
So how you doing this morning, brother?
Your show's too early for me, but it's okay.
We could tell.
Yeah.
You get the wispy. Anyway, so there's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot of blame to assign, obviously. And it is an election year, and please believe we're going to roll on that. Cameron says, try to stop a bus. So the first thing, well, let me ask you this, Mario. While you were active, with obviously without betraying any kind of NDAs, if possible, did you do any work on human trafficking interdiction?
No, that's okay. So there are regional sites. Okay, there's the NSA. Okay, in Washington D.C., and then there's the regional satellite offices. That's more of the one in Texas. That's more of their focus.
Gotcha.
And I was basically Hawaii and D.C. So
I did. I did training and trained units on it, and while I was in Afghanistan, we dealt with it kind of peripherally. The closest I ever came to actual kinetic engagement with the problem is we had a group of Al Qaeda who were kidnapping little girls from one of the local villages where we were. This was in Sanjare, and in that case, it was never 100% clear if they were actually selling any of these little girls, because many of the little girls they'd show back up a couple days later, and they would have been mutilated. They would cut off their fingers and their noses, and that was more about making a threat. But we still had to deal with, we would run armed security details to escort the children to school to make sure that they didn't get grabbed by Al Qaeda. And what happened there, I get to touch on gun control a little bit here because, of course, this the fact that there are armies of migrants kidnapping children in California, Kamala owns the hell out of that. And another thing that she will own in the future, if she were to win, she is all about some Second Amendment violation. She's coming for your guns so that they can come for your kids.
And so is Waltz.
Yes. So the primary motivating force behind gun control in modern America is to make you soft targets. The lefties love to scream about mass shootings. The fact is, the number of mass shootings has not increased substantially over a period of time. Rather, it became a bugaboo for the press, and it gets clicks. So they like to report Mario's connection, but okay, we got him back. You froze for a second. But anyway,
So did you?
Yes, we identified
So I
the
mean, like,
culprits and eliminated them.
I think isn't human trafficking in Afghanistan just part of Afghani culture, though? I mean,
Yes, very much so.
So, but yeah, like with the coming for your guns, okay, restrictions on the Second Amendment, they definitely the number one thing is they want to pass the assault weapon ban again, which is the one that I believe Bush the Lesser let expire. They want to basically recertify that law.
And that was the most useful thing he did with his entire administration.
That's the best thing he did, his entire administration. That is correct. But yeah, it's about
he was a pretty boilerplate, 70s style Democrat.
He was a warmonger and a puppet of warmongers.
That's what I said. I stand here uncorrected.
Yeah, it's the gun control. It's just another aspect of the anarcho tyranny. Okay, where the law is selectively enforced based on the perceived political standing of the people involved. Okay, and
in importing the hostile foreign invaders, people like to talk about, they're going to get the vote, and that is something that the Democrats are working on, is getting illegals the vote. But there are some layers there. The fact is, as much as the Democrats want the illegals to be legally allowed to vote, like it's not an end run maneuver, that's not going to happen before the 2024 election in November. However, what will happen is those illegals will be paid, and they'll be paid pittance. Like, hey man, here's $50 if you'll take this mail-in ballot and drop it in a mailbox. But they'll be used as mules to collect mail-in ballots illegally, and fill them out with the names of dead people and people who have moved to stuff ballot boxes that way. But even apart from that, California has 5 additional congressional seats and 5 additional electoral college votes that exist exclusively based on the census counting of the illegal population of their state. And if you'll remember, at the beginning of 2020, that was a big bugaboo for the Democrats, was you cannot put the citizenship question on the census. And anytime the Democrat says, no, you cannot take a measure that will have a positive effect for Americans, that is the objective. So, and then the other piece of this, and then I'll let you say words, Mario. The other piece of this, it goes on the list, right? Like I've referred to several times before. Back when St. Floyd was. When St. Floyd suicided himself with the fentanyl, and we had the whole, I almost said Trayvon Martin. It was
what?
Ahmaud Arbery.
Okay.
With Ahmaud Arbery, right? They sent BLM terrorists to terrorize the prosecutors into basically recusing themselves from the case, right? A prosecutor would come up, he'd say, nope, clear-cut case, self-defense, no problem. And then BLM would show up at his house. He'd recuse himself. Another prosecutor would come in. No, this is obviously self-defense. BLM would show up. He'd recuse himself until they found a prosecutor that would pursue it. And I said back then, and I've said many times since, that I thought I was being hyperbolic when I said this before, but the objective is to make crime, most especially violent crime against white people, to decriminalize it. And it's not just, hey, we want to let our voting base have free money. No, it's about making you scared. It's about making you weak. It's about It's about scaring you away from the vote, from activism, from engagement, and from employment. Keep in mind, over the last 5 years, the top 100 corporations, right? The S&P 100, 96% non-white new hires.
Yeah, since 2020. That's correct.
That's insane.
Yep.
And when they report that, they report it as if it's a good thing, and they don't hide the fact that it was done intentionally for the sake of diversity. Okay,
So
screen done.
what it yeah.
Sorry.
So what it reeks of to me, I'm trying to think of a historical analogy for this, and it's Khmer Rouge. Okay, like this was Pol Pot's idea.
Yeah.
It's the new people, versus the old people. Okay, the illegal immigrants that have been getting imported en masse for the past 30 years. Okay, they are the new people. They are the vanguard of the revolution. All right, and the old people need to step out of the way, and their property will be seized from them, and they will be given basically second-class status. Okay, when it comes to legal matters. All right, that would be that's kind of the glue that would tie all these stories together about the children with the school bus. All right, those children are the old people, and the new people.
Yep.
Think the worst part of that story is that if the school bus sees a children like a bus stop, and there's a bunch of migrants hanging around, the bus won't even stop.
Right, and let me show you this tweet. Let me show you this tweet about that real quick. Right here. A group of illegal aliens tried to hijack two buses full of elementary school kids. School districts are warning drivers and parents. If a school bus encounters a group of migrants at a stop, it won't stop, leaving students unattended. Now, the language there is somewhat vague, but it sounds a hell of a lot like I'm driving my bus and, oh, hey, there's 4 kids at the bus stop, but there are illegal aliens there too. And I'm going to mind my own business and just drive on to the school. And we can call their parent. We can send the notification team over to their parents to let them know that they're not coming home. Ever.
The school bus should be a safe place for children. Okay, like the school bus driver should want to stop to let the children on so that they're removed from an unsafe situation. I mean, I don't know how these bus stops work in California. I don't understand how a Californian parent could allow a child to just stand by the side of the road in San Diego.
So real quick, obligatory plug within this context. Move out of the city and get your children out of the public schools.
100%.
I mean, holy
Absolutely.
Shit. The other thing that needs to be said, because the replacement conversation is happening here, and that, good God, that there is a whole rabbit hole we can go down there.
California
Let me try to summarize it quickly. Okay. You've heard the expression great replacement theory. The lefties like to say it's the great white replacement theory, but that is false. It is becoming a problem optically for the Democrats now because blacks in large cities, especially places like Detroit, are starting to realize that they are having their jobs taken by criminal aliens, and they're suddenly learning, oh, they haven't been saying great white replacement. They've been saying great replacement, as in not the white people are being eliminated by importing brown people from foreign countries. No, the entire U.S. population is slowly and intentionally being replaced, at least the working class level below the elites. And then the other thing to refer that to, I want you to think about South Africa circa 2018, 2019. The farms were largely owned by white farmers, and the government explicitly endorsed the violent capture of those farms by national black nationals. Yeah. And because equity, there's too many white people with farms. We need some of our black people running these farms. And the failure was excruciating. They took the farms. Mm-hmm. And this isn't, don't take this as a commentary. We've got black farmers out here that are incredibly competent. And it's got nothing to do with them being black. It's got to do with them being fucking farmers, right? And so you saw that there. You can go all the way back to Chinese collective farms, things like that, and it's always the same thing. The state replaces the competent agricultural professionals with right thinkers who have zero professional talent or acumen.
I wanted to comment on something that Waller said in the chat. Okay, right. Replacement theory was fine when it was taking jobs from poor whites. Yeah, that's what was going. That's what was happening in the 80s. Okay, first segment of a population that is affected by large scale migration. Okay, is the lower working class. All right, they're the people. If you remember, like the 80s and 90s, you'd hear the cliche of they're taking our jobs. You know what I mean? Those people, okay, the lower working class, and the way it's presented to like the middle class is, oh, you don't want to be like those lower class people, like who were uncouth and speaking a dialect. Okay, don't be like those people. Okay, those people who are being replaced. Well, those people are largely gone. Okay, basically wiped out of the workforce. All right. Huge segments of the population in the former industrial zone of the United States are living on government subsidies, food stamps, and they're addicted to prescription medication that was handed to them like buttered popcorn by Pfizer. All right. So basically the destruction of the white working class in this country is more or less complete. Now it's coming. Now the middle class is going to be directly affected, and has been, I'd say, well, even more so now with replacement migration coming from India, okay, specifically coming here to work the white collar jobs for blue collar wages. Okay?
Jobs.
What happened?
They took our jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so that's the way they phrase it, and yeah, but these are the new people. And you are the old people, and you will step aside, and your property will be seized, and your jobs will be lost. You look at California, like how did this happen in California? For me, I think there were two major situations there. The first one was in 1986 when Reagan did his amnesty, which legalized about 6 million illegal immigrants in the United States, heavily skewed towards California, where the majority of this population was, and it almost flipped the state, okay, from red to blue. And then the nail in the coffin was in 1992 when a lone judge, okay, overturned Proposition 187, which was a direct democracy. What's the word? When the people vote. Whatever. The people, okay, voted for Proposition 187, which would deny state benefits for illegal aliens, okay, particularly health, Medicaid, Medicare, public education, basically shut them out. A single judge overturned that, which basically opened the door for illegal aliens and their descendants, okay, rapidly expanding, to basically seize the government largesse of the state of California. That completed the transition, because after that, then California was a magnet for since 1992. I mean, however many millions of people have crossed the border illegally, tens of millions, I suspect. I suspect we've got 40 to 50 million illegal immigrants in this country right now.
Milton Friedman said, and I quote, "Affirmative action is the most anti-Negro policy that has ever been proposed in the United States." At the time, the phenomenon was this. Old white men had been the skilled tradesmen, the plumbers, the electricians, etc., for decades, but they had black and white helpers, crewmen, right? So you got your mechanic as a white guy, and then he's got a couple of white guys and a couple of black guys that work as the secondaries, right, as the assistants. And the whole time, apprenticeship style, all those guys are learning the skilled trade. About the time that the that generation of black men were getting to where they had learned the trade and they could operate as master electrician, plumber, etc., and they were starting to open their own business. That's about the same time that the floodgates on illegal aliens coming from Mexico started taking jobs there. Because what happened is, at that point, the black guy could say, I'm a master electrician. I've been doing this for 15 years. I trained with this guy. I know my shit. Oh, and by the way, my old master electrician is retiring, but I've worked for you before. Under him, you know me, and I can acquire that book of business. And because I'm trying to get established and trying to compete, I can beat his price because I have to build my business and be competitive. And then the Mexican guys came in and they said, "Yeah, we'll do it for half."
Yep.
And
No,
but now what you have is, and this has been true for 20, 30 years, those Mexicans and for a lot of them, hey, mad do what needs done for yourself. I get that. But now a lot of those guys are the $30 and $40 an hour forklift operators, electricians, plumbers, etc. So a big chunk of the American opportunity for blacks was just erased by illegal immigration in the 70s and 80s.
That's what it means when Trump says, they're stealing, they're taking black jobs. Okay, and he got a lot of shit for saying that, especially at that black journalist conference. Okay,
and that's only racist when Trump refers to black jobs, because those assholes talk about black jobs all the time. And when Trump says black jobs and when they say black jobs, they mean the exact same thing. They're not referring to jobs that are for black people. They're referring to the jobs that black people have. And it sounds like a semantic distinction, but it is an important one.
Yeah, it means entry-level jobs where you could basically learn a skill. Okay, that's what it means. All right.
Well, it means that in those black communities.
Yes, but
that's an important piece of that conversation. Is the blacks are starting to understand that these illegals, these hostile foreign invaders, are coming into their communities now and taking food out of their mouths.
You remember 2 years ago, the Freakout in Chicago? We saw a bunch of black people basically protesting and freaking out because the migrants were coming in, and the migrants were basically signing up for the city benefits. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they were getting government largesse, and the black people were like, they're taking our Gibbs.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't believe we're not seeing more protests in New York over the flipping migrants holding down like whole entire 5-star hotels. Just
I don't know.
Hotel owners don't care.
I think you demoralize people so much for so long. I think they're broken. They're broken people. I think a lot of us are kidding ourselves right now that we haven't been broken. You know what I mean? That we still have the spirit to basically get out and do something, as opposed to just keeping your head down. Because, like you alluded to in the beginning of the program, the police and authorities essentially exist to prevent you from exacting justice yourself.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Prevent you from seeking your own justice.
Yeah, the only thing a cop has ever done for me is stop me from solving America's problems.
Yeah. Or applying secret taxes.
Yeah. Police today essentially collect revenue and protect criminals.
Yep. I agree. So
because it dovetails into this conversation, Mario sent this article over. Let me
kind of builds on the theme of, like I said, seriously, if you guys don't know what, there's like tons of documentaries on it on like just YouTube. Just go on YouTube, type in like Khmer Rouge, okay, Cambodia, 1970s.
Yes.
And just watch like a half-hour program on it. There are shocking comparisons to what we're seeing today.
So yeah, Gavin Newsome to decide after California Democrats pass $150,000 home loans for illegal aliens. Hold on just a second. Let me double check something real quick. just in case, let me go ahead and nip that in the bud before it may or may not have started causing an echo, and I want to hopefully catch it before my chat starts screaming at me about it.
Whenever it echoes, I always hear it, so I'd let you know.
Oh, I appreciate that. Okay, so Gavin Newsome to decide after California Democrats pass $150,000 home loans for illegal aliens. Okay, off the headline alone, let me tell you this important thing about the illegal aliens. The Democrats are not even pretending. They're not even trying to say the quiet part out. It's no longer that they're saying the quiet part out loud by mistake. It is that they honestly believe that this is what their voters want. And the polling data appears to suggest that they're not wrong. See, the Democrat relies on their voters being stupid. And as it turns out, at least according to the polling, that is in fact the case.
They've been replaced, is what it is. They've been replaced. These people who want this type of legislation are not Americans.
Correct. So, yeah, the $150,000 home loans for illegal aliens, government funded. Basically, they're making them more permanent. They're enticing them to come and then doing what they can with government largesse to keep them here. The fact cannot be ignored or understated that the Democrat wants the enemy on your doorstep.
It's a continuation of, like I said, in 1992 when illegal immigrants were basically given free public education. This is like the slippery slope fallacy. I think we can put that to rest now. It's not a fallacy, okay, when it comes to government largesse for illegals or whatever desired population, okay, they set their eyes on, or for like the LGBT movement. The slippery slope is real, okay? So free public education.
Yeah, the slippery slope is more of a predictive test.
California creates its own Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae for illegal aliens. Okay, that's basically what you have here. And the thing about it is,
Thomas was basically just a guy that said slippery slope over and over again.
Yep. So what was I saying here? And another aspect of it is an election year, so Gavin Newsome could veto it. Okay, just say no.
Yes.
Right? And this kind of creates this dialectic where Gavin Newsome, despite being a radical, okay, who's engineered the current state, the current absolute state of California, okay, but he gets to look like the moderate one. You know what I mean? By just vetoing this, okay? Democrats or communists, okay, it's communists in general, all right? They love to set up a scenario where they ruined your life, okay, and then position themselves to be the ones who, well, I know it's bad now, but it could be so much worse if you don't continue supporting me. Okay, kind of like a hostage situation, like what the Republican Party has done to white people. Like, you have to vote for us, even though we don't love you, because if you don't, it'll get so much worse than it is right now. Same thing. Okay, with Gavin Newsome, he can appear to be the moderate one by vetoing this shit. All right, and then he creates a situation where it's après moi le deluge. You know what I mean? Like, after me, it's all going to go to shit. Okay, I'm the best bet you have right now. It works in California. On a national stage, it wouldn't work. Running a Newsome ticket for president would fail spectacularly, and they know that. Kamala is the same culture, comes from the exact same culture.
Yep.
Okay, however, she basically doesn't have any record to really tear apart, or the media refuses to do so. The media refuses to vet Democrat candidates, always. So, but yeah.
And you mentioned California. You mentioned the policies working in California, but not nationally. That is only true right now, and I detest that I have to say this, but an honest and analytic understanding, that is only true right now because of drug policy. Recreational drugs are largely illegal across the country. They are not illegal in California, Washington. You'll notice that the blue states have decriminalized drugs. I'm
It's live.
surprised. I'm surprised that the the cheeseburger German V. This is we are in fact speaking to you now every morning at 07:30, every weekday morning until we're tired of running our mouths. But like I said earlier, the Democrat relies on the voter being stupid. And if you just don't have enough stupid, hey, manufacture it. Sell the stupid. Right? We've talked about 1984 and Big Brother, and I've said, 1984 got one thing wrong. It told you that an overbearing, terrifying, tyrannical government was going to force you to have a camera on all the time and a TV in your face all the time, and it was going to be done to you involuntarily. Bullshit! We bought it.
Yep.
I've got one. I can't run my businesses without one of these. That's the world we live in now, right?
It's more Brave New World than it is 1984. Yep.
Exactly. You will buy it voluntarily.
You bought into it.
And
you have to buy into it.
Brave New World, you will be sterilized. Your children will be manufactured in clone batches. And then when, by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, they'll be playing sex games in the park for kindergarten. That is clearly the end goal for these sociopaths. And the same thing with the drugs, right? They're not going to come around and, they don't need to sneak a sterilization agent or into the COVID vaccine or brainwash you with fluoride if you're voluntarily purchasing marijuana. And I got nothing against pot. I mean, I don't smoke myself, but I'll have a cold beer every now and then. That kills brain cells, but I don't make a routine habit of it. The cheeseburger says we need to audit NASA. That is a deep rabbit hole. We'll have to mine that one in another expedition, my man.
That's
Cameron says weed equals soma. Yeah, 100%.
Watch InfoWars. Okay, they've audited NASA many times. All right. So, actually, it looks like this bill passed with a veto-proof majority in the California House. It's
did it?
Kind of 3-1. Democrats passed it by a 3-1 veto-proof majority, sending it to the government's desk. So, I don't know what they're going to do. California's lost, and it's spreading. I mean, I'm really interested in seeing this election cycle. I want to see what direction Texas is going. Okay, I want to see if all the people who moved there from California and other states are basically have amended their ways and are voting for conservative and America First policies, or if they're going to push the state over the edge, like California.
And Texas, much like California, the majority of Texas is deep red farm country. But
Texas is demographically similar. Texas is demographically similar to California, where it's a majority minority state. It's just the culture's a little different, or a lot different for now. So yeah, I mean, once Texas falls, that's basically it. There's no more national elections.
Correct.
And, anyway, we're diverging to it.
Unless we can add the citizenship question to the census.
Yeah. Well, see, that was one of the biggest. That was one of those big failures of the Trump administration, where you didn't push hard enough on that. Because think about what that did. 2020, the census, right?
That would have changed the outcome of the election.
10 years. That's 10 years. Okay.
Yes.
So that locks in the House of Representative apportionment, okay, for 10 freaking years. At the same time, when a shit ton of people were moving, or a shit ton of conservative people were moving out of blue states to red states, okay, meaning that the population loss of those blue states doesn't matter because they've already locked in their seats. They've already locked in their their apportionment, you know what I mean, of the population.
Yep.
So all those new voters going to red states, okay, who are fleeing blue states, they're just making the state redder. It doesn't change the national electoral map, okay?
Yeah,
And
for some perspective,
for 10 freaking years.
For some perspective on this, when the 2020 census came out, California, right, despite the massive, they had such a massive outpour of people leaving the state. At the same time, there was the massive influx of criminal aliens. They still lost two seats in that census.
And just
That's
because you leave
staggering.
California,
There were so many people leaving California that if you go to a U-Haul vendor in Texas, it cost 1/4 of the rent to rent a U-Haul truck to go from Texas to California as it does to go from California to Texas. And that's got nothing to do with the local market. It's got to do it's the way that U-Haul prices their trucks to incentivize people. They don't want you to rent their trucks in California because they don't have any trucks there.
Right.
And then if any trucks they do have there, they had to pay somebody. They had to pay two people, one to drive there with the truck and one to drive him back, or they have to rent a trailer to put several of the smaller trucks on. You know, U-Haul had a serious problem with supply shortages in California. They still do.
no one's driving their truck. See, the business model would be, we don't have to pay to send our trucks back to California because you're going to drive them back for us.
Mhm.
But no one's driving them back.
Right. Nobody wants to take that ride.
Yep. Yep. All right. Anyone from chat have anything interesting to add? There's probably delay on that anyway.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it for this morning. There are some other rabbit holes that I could go down on this topic, but then we would be extending the show by another 20 or 30 minutes.
Yep.
And I want to get out there and start running my chainsaw before it gets too warm. So, thanks for joining us this morning, Mario. I'm going to go ahead and kick you back out, and
All right.
hey, I'll give you a call right after this.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching this morning. I hope you enjoyed the show. For those, I saw a few names in the chat that are new viewers, and so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I hope to see y'all hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're at, and come back and see us again tomorrow for Firearms Friday. And I want to close with this. So yesterday, I had a bit of a day yesterday. I had to drive back to Conyers, just outside of Atlanta, and I was already planning on heading up there to do lunch with a buddy of mine and hang out and talk some business. And then another good buddy of mine happened to have some car trouble, so it just, serendipity. I was there to help my buddy out, and while I was waiting on him to finish up some stuff and meet me so we could drop his car off and shuffle vehicles, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go get my oil changed because I'm gonna overdue, and got out to get the oil changed, and one of my mechanics pointed at the tires like, oh shit, starting to see some steel coming through them radials. So I went down and that was at Top Shelf Mechanics on Honey Creek and 138 in Conyers. That's who I use when I'm in the area. And that's who I've used for the last 10 years. And they are in and out. They're awesome, right? I can usually get an oil change in and out in 10, 15 minutes. And up the street to Tires for Less, and two new tires two gently used tires on the front of my 23-year-old pick 'em up truck for $200. Mounted and installed and balanced 2 tires, and then I went and I told the guys over at Southern Tire on 278 in Covington that I'd give them a shout out this morning. I hope they're watching because I told you. Southern Tire, I've got a mechanic in Conyers, Marshall, and his son Marquise. Marshall moved down here from Detroit. He is old blood Ford mechanic, best Ford mechanic on the damn planet as far as I'm concerned, and he's who I take my truck to, and they've taken care of me for a decade. And Southern Tire on 278 in Covington is who they use, who they send their people to get front end alignments done. And that's what so I got a front end alignment out of them yesterday, and driving my pickup truck home really made a big deal to me yesterday. So y'all check those guys out if you're in that area. You got Top Shelf, you got Southern Tire, Tires for Less, and if y'all want to do business with Marshall, you just have to call me offline. So thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.